Greetings, opera lovers. It's Rona, live from Pittsburgh. I'm back home. Last night, I was so lucky to be able to catch the premiere of Prince Igor by Borodin live from the Met as they broadcast it over Sirius and the internet. And so I was able to listen to every single note, and I loved it. It was quite an event. I did not realize that I didn't know anything about the history of this opera. I didn't even know the story of it. I knew a little bit of the music because there's that very famous Polovetzian dances, which is featured so prominently in the show Kismet and also the movie Kismet, which also features other music of Borodin. The music I did know, besides that, was Igor's great aria. And I didn't realize that I knew another piece. It was Prince Galitsky's aria. I recognized that as well. So here, in a nutshell, is the history of the opera. Borodin based the story on an old epic tale about Igor, and it takes place in the 1100s. He wrote it during a period of many years, but died before he completed it. He wrote the music and libretto. After his death, Rimsky-Korsakov took on the project to finish the opera, and also his pupil, Alexander Glazunov, also wrote some music. So over the years, there have been many versions, and some of them have been highly criticized because a lot of the order of the scenes were changed by Rimsky-Korsakov, and so much new music was written that it's hard to tell where one hand starts and the other stops. The Met last put on Prince Igor in 1916, but it wasn't this version. I found out a great deal about this opera by viewing a video which I'm going to highly recommend. It is called The New Edition of Prince Igor. It's on YouTube, uploaded by Novgorod Seversky, Seversky. And if you watch that, you will get a whole education about the opera. But last night's opera was truly wonderful. The singing was overall on a very high level. The orchestra played gorgeously. The chorus has an enormous part, and that's great because they're a terrific chorus. The men sing, the women sing, they sing together. There's also a ballet scene, which we couldn't see on the radio. So now we get down to the singing. Everyone knows I go to the Met or listen to opera to hear great singing. In the title role of Prince Igor was Ildar Abdrazakov. He's a very good singer. I was hoping I was going to be wowed, but I wasn't. Now, maybe that's because of the fact that it was a broadcast and I wasn't live in the house. But he's excellent. There are so many great Russian bassos. He's really a bass baritone, and I saw that the role is actually supposed to be done by a baritone. I can't imagine, but that's what it says. So you compare him with the great bassos, the great Russian bassos of the past, and his voice isn't quite as rich as theirs. Singing the leading soprano role of Yaroslavna, Igor's wife, was Oksana Dika. She's a Ukrainian soprano. I liked her very much. I've heard a lot of criticisms about her, that her voice isn't big, that she's shrill, that she screams. I will say that her voice does thin out at the very top, but I think she's an outstanding singer. I have no idea whether she sang the right notes, the wrong notes, whatever. To me, it was good. In the role of Prince Galitsky was Mikhail Petrenko. I thought he stole the show vocally. Just a fantastic singer all around. Whenever he sang, I was really just in heaven. Another lead singer was the Georgian mezzo, who plays Konchakovna, Anita Rachvelishvili. I hope I did that right. I'm terrible with names. I've heard her a lot on DVD and YouTube. She's a wonderful singer. She's a Georgian mezzo. and she has a much smokier quality than Mystica, so it was nice that there was a differentiation between the two singers. You could tell who was who right away. In one of the other roles, major roles, was Konchak, played by Stefan Kochan. I've heard him many times, and I am not a fan of his singing. To me, it sounds wobbly and unfocused. However, he's gotten excellent reviews from the reviewers, and my friends who have heard him live love him. So maybe it's just my own personal prejudice. Conducting was Gian Andrea Noceda. Of course, since I don't know the score, I can't say whether he did a good job or a bad job. It sounded great to me. There was a little bit of not so much togetherness at certain times in the opera, but overall it had a great sweep to it. There was a lot of energy, especially in the fast parts, and then there's also all that mournful Russian music, which I thought came out very well. The production was by a Russian named Chernyakov. He's very famous, and I will get to see that at his production Vision at the HD theaters. I will say the Met put out a few clips of highlights from the opera, and I saw them. And what I can say is that the famous Red Field of Poppies looks very beautiful, but then the characters are clothed in what looks like very modern 18th, 19th, 20th century clothing. And since this is a story that's supposed to take place in the 12th century, I just don't know how that's all going to work. The end of the opera was very slow, and I wasn't really sure that that was the end. Of course, how was I to know? I'd never heard it before. I'd like to make a little statement about the length of the opera, which was over 4 hours. It started at 7 and ended after 11:15. I think that's too long for an opera like this, just my opinion. I wish the Met had cut at least a half an hour of music from it. It really seemed to go on too long. And the intermission features just must be shortened. They go on too long. Okay, my opinion only. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the production, and I hope all of you will too. It seems Prince Igor seems to have a rebirth now that there seems to be some kind of standardization of what the opera should sound like and how it should be produced and done. Okay, everybody have a great day.